want to, movie night first, if we want to cancel movie night and get our deposit back, we would have to cancel by June 25th. So we're not going to meet again before then, so we should probably decide today if we want to cancel it and get our deposit back, or go forward and cancel it later, but we would at least lose our deposit, which is 50% of the cost. Amy from the History Center called me last week. She's very, very concerned about all the social distancing precautions. She wants us to mark spots in the ground 6 feet apart for the families at movie night. She has a lot of concerns. She's not in no way saying, no, don't have it here, but she's looking to us to be doing things.
Is that the Historical Society?
Yes.
Okay, so they're kind of older people, so
What?
a lot of older people there, so they're.
No, we had it at night. It was just families.
This is families.
I know, I'm just saying,
Just saying.
they're on that board and.
I'm on the board.
Huh?
Yeah.
There are a lot of older people.
I'm just saying that board is probably.
I thought you meant at the event.
Yeah, that's what they're talking about, is at the event.
Sure.
And it'll be similar, same thing for Family Fun Day. They're really concerned about Family Fun Day, but that's like the next part of the discussion. They have, let me rephrase that, they have some concerns about Family Fun Day. I'll get to those after we get through movie night.
So what are the, Mike, let me ask, what are the requirements per the state that we have to comply with if we do move, let's stick with movie night,
If we're just talking movie night,
just movie night.
yes, well, the 6 feet apart. If they're selling anything, now we didn't sell anything last year.
I would say that if we do it, we just nix that, because that just would create.
Well, that was the History Center that
That was their
did
money.
that.
No, I know.
That was there, so
Yeah, so.
we don't have to worry about what they have to, what they're gonna comply with. But, you know, so for the movie night, Chuck, there isn't a whole lot we have to do, because it's just people coming out and sitting in the yard. I left at the beginning of the movie last year, but it looked to me like the yard was fairly full. So I don't know, can we?
I'll be honest with you, I was there, and I think people naturally sat 6 feet apart from other families anyways. It wasn't like my family was right next to Josh's family. People naturally created these spaces between each other anyways.
I don't know.
So I don't think that would be an issue. Painesville City just announced they're having all their concerts in the park. So I don't know.
They don't get enough people, those sad people.
Well, I mean, it's kind of, some of those are pretty close to what we get for movie night, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
My thought is, if History Center, they're asking us to mark the ground 6 feet, we have to police it and ask people to move. I don't want to get into that.
But is it possible that they can't park cars there, can they? Just keep people in their cars and that we,
I don't think that would.
That would be too much.
You couldn't line up the cars, well, I don't think.
cars would block each other and the screen is not high
You have to
enough.
raise the screen pretty high.
My thought is, it seems like Mentor's canceling a lot of stuff. Party of Parks canceled, the fair's basically canceled. I guess I would say we just cancel and postpone until next year, is my thought.
considering you gotta make a decision right now, you can't delay it.
So the only, but the,
I would say have it. It's outdoors. People are gonna sit 6 feet apart naturally. It happened last year. My take is to, everything, there's enough being canceled, a movie where people are sitting stationary and they're apart. I mean, how much of the summer are we going to,
We got a porta-john last year, 2 of them, right?
2, yes.
They have to be wiped down. I mean,
It's
I don't know.
supposed to be cleaned every hour.
So,
Just
Yeah.
don't put a porta potty up there.
You can't not.
not with kids.
Yeah, if that, yeah, you have to.
Yeah, it's like a.
would you say every hour?
That's what the parks,
what does that mean, wipe down?
Just spray it with disinfectant, pretty much.
I mean, just,
I can't find that. I don't know.
so part of me says, all right, so it sounds like 2 things. So part of me says
You're in the
cancel it. Yeah, cancel it. It's not worth, I mean, it'd be a nice thing to do, but there's a lot of things that we gotta do. The other part is, I know how the movie night was. We were all there last year, and you're right, Katie, people were spaced out. This other one we're gonna talk about, I'm all for pushing off because there's just too much with that. But if it's just a matter of sitting down and watching a movie, people sit apart anyhow. But I don't like the part about the bathrooms. I mean, that's where I'm not gonna.
Well, the only other thing we could do is,
Do it either.
the only other thing we can do is one of 2 things. So they just have to be disinfected. So we do what they do at, when they clean them anyways, is just spray them down, right? With like a backpack disinfectant, we can do like they do the shopping carts, or like when they clean them. They don't wipe them, they just spray them. Or the other option is we just foot the bill, since we're not having family fun day, get 2 more, have 2 open for the first hour, at the second hour, zip time and open the other 2. I mean, that's a solution. If they have to be clean every hour, we use the first 2 for an hour, zip tie those closed after the first, and then open the second ones. Now you've solved the hour problem. I think that's, either way, that's a solution. It's only gonna cost us, what, extra $200? Aren't they $100 each or something?
I've never seen a bill for those games. I don't know what they charge.
Or 100, I think they're 125 maybe tops.
Do you think that we could get that company to have someone staff it?
What would they cost?
Probably $200.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, whatever, if you say, hey, we really want to do it, it's a couple $100, who cares, but they're there, someone's there staffing.
No, do we wanna see if, I mean, would kid from the road department be willing to work if we pay them, say, $50 for the 2 hours to come?
If it's just a matter of spraying them down and not wiping them, I mean, we have that stuff that we use to spray down the everything at work.
Well, that's what I'm
every
saying,
day.
that's all you need to do.
And
You don't need to wipe
it
them
says
down.
it kills the coronavirus, so, if it's just a matter of spraying them.
Is Jeremy here?
No,
He's
always on.
I'm here.
Okay.
That was one of the things I was gonna ask, is whether we were gonna have our own staff doing the cleaning, or how we do that.
The what?
If we're having the staff doing the
Oh.
cleaning, or how we're doing it.
Jeremy, what's our liability on something like this?
We probably also would have waivers, have people sign waivers.
And do we need to do the contact, do we need to get a record of who's there for contact tracing or anything?
We wouldn't be required to do that, but we would have to probably have.
People gotta sign a freaking waiver?
Not, the waiver for what, Jeremy?
Holy, so they can.
That's what a lot of the events are doing, is just waivers saying that, you acknowledge that while we're taking all our precautions, that there's still a possibility that you'll get sick, and we can't guarantee that you wouldn't contract the virus being there.
I don't wanna do that.
Are we required to do that as an open event, like a government agency?
We're not absolutely required to do it, but most places that are doing these kind of things are doing it.
Good practice.
I mean,
to do.
Ohio State's doing it for all their people coming to practice.
Trump's doing it.
Is Ohio State doing it for football games or any athletic events?
I don't know if they've decided for the events yet, but all the people that are coming back for spring practice and everything has to sign a waiver and some kind of commitment that they'll be there, they'll show up, but that they are waiving any liability for if they get sick.
Do you know what the city's doing for their concerts?
I don't, but I can find out today.
Well, we kind of need to,
We should decide today.
yeah. Can you take a break and make a phone call while we're discussing?
Let's move on to the next one then.
Circle back.
All right, we're gonna move on to,
Family fun day.
Fun Day.
Recreation Department, Jeremy.
Going.
Or muted early. Yeah, who else could get an attorney, but the rec department was not.
Oh,
I would think maybe like those
TV
4 or
ads,
5
like,
places and stuff like that, they probably, in order to encourage people to run them, and that may have like a service where they have somebody there that they take responsibility for making sure that it's.
Well,
I'd really be surprised at that. They drop those off,
Yeah, they don't.
use them, they pick them up and clean them back at their shop. I'd be surprised if they.
when we ran it for Party of the Park, we got 25 of them. They would come in, and the only service they provided was they would come in,
Right.
suck them out, and then they would spray them with their stuff, and then that was it. That was their,
That was back then, I'm just saying, you ever think that in order to, a lot of people.
I would think, I mean, if we're gonna just do backpack, let's say we're gonna use a spray or disinfectant,
Right.
couldn't we could just pay one, like our,
Well,
see if our
actually,
part-time,
if we're only supposed to do it once an hour, then I like your idea. of
That's
just
fine.
doing it.
yeah, right, that way you're,
We're gonna have, if we have it, we're gonna have full-time guys there anyway. They were there to
okay,
help with the parking.
okay,
Just-
okay.
So,
I just feel like of all things out there, that the least riskiest thing is letting people come sit down and watch a movie, and with everything being taken away from everybody, I feel like letting them come with their family and sit outside and watch a movie is something that we can provide with very little risk to anybody and still have something for the summer.
The same thing goes for a parade, though. I mean, parades.
Well, parade, you're standing on the side, I mean, look at our parade, it was like, you're literally right on top of each other. This is different. I mean, like Chuck said, and they're naturally sitting up. You don't want to sit and watch a movie with some other family right next to you anyways, you know, so, but.
The other thing you could do too is like maybe talk about Riverside or whatever, you know, they got the little machines that they line, football field with and stuff like that. You can just throw a grid on
Well,
there.
he's probably got the hand sprayer thing, right, so.
You have the line.
Yeah, we could pay
If we
fines
needed
if
to.
that's what we
Yeah.
need to do.
Just do like a grid.
Policing, I'm not,
No, you don't have to police it.
I don't
You
think
just
police
do it,
anything,
just like
man.
people.
until somebody says, you're sitting on my side of the line and you won't move, so hey, somebody up
Well, that's why I
there.
think the lines are a bad idea. I think it's just a matter of,
Well, let's do what Jeremy came
Yeah.
back with.
Let's talk family fun day.
Family Fun Day. Family Fun Day has even more challenges. On the subject we're just talking about, like the rides, the slides and the bouncy house and that, are you gonna put all the kids in there together? I gave my reasons in our report. The biggest one is finances. We are getting no money donated or contributed and nothing for the Chinese auction. And everybody's saying, well, not this year, we've been closed, we can't contribute. So we are pretty much looking at paying for Family Fun Day on our own, is the financial end of it.
I say if we go with canceling, I say that instead of that, we do a second, maybe a second movie in August before I go back to school.
I don't think we're doing a movie though.
Well, that's if we do it. But, I mean, by August, I mean, the kids they're gonna be going back to school.
Hopefully.
Well, I mean, I believe that they're going to be back. They already said go back, it's just a matter of how they're gonna be, back, but.
But setting this up, we're gonna have to put money out there, for deposits and so on for people to come. So if things go south and we decide in August to cancel it, we're looking at whatever we
Again, I
deposit,
think with
probably being gone.
the cleaning requirement, and there's kids everywhere.
Have a family fun day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think we cancel that this year.
Yeah, I'm
Kids are like the
cancel family
really
fun
first
day,
thing,
too
you
much.
know, it's sad.
Plus you need volunteers and you make some good points, so all good. Reading the report, I'm good.
That's fine.
Okay, so we're not gonna hold Family
So
Fun Day
family
this
fun
year?
day.
Okay.
I got a question though, hey, before we get further, so this is in front of me, I think it may have gone to one of the packets. She hand wrote payroll up top, should that have been in one of these packets that got sent?
Yes.
Or we gave
Because
something?
the payroll, we don't cut checks for, so we just include it in there for people to look at.
Just keep it, just back to financials.
Here's half.
Thank you.
So we'll give it a circle back.
All right, so he comes back, we'll get with him. Mike, next?
Pardon me? No, I get all this. It's, for the transient vendor permit, this isn't a burning issue. I got one complaint, but a transient vendor who had a license was knocking on the door at 8:30 in the evening. And the resident called me the next day and said, are they permitted out that late? When I read the resolution, they're permitted, transient vendors are permitted 1/2 hour after sunset. And they probably made that rule because the sunset changes throughout the year, so that's an easy way. And I'm just asking the question, do we care? Is that too late? If it is too late, we're gonna kinda have to write a complicated one to go out the year, but it can be done. Rich already
I
came
think
up
the
with a
problem
model.
is when we were knocking on doors campaigning, I mean, I'm knocking on a door at 8:30 at night. I mean, it's,
It just depends.
It's the only
what it is.
complaint I've
This
ever
time of
got.
year, yes.
that's what I'm getting, so that's when this happened, right? Just, so, I don't know, if you start doing that, then when they start campaigning and they find out we shut down at 8, are we gonna get phone calls so I think you leave it as 1/2 hour past.
It's not a burning issue. It's just came up
I would
with
leave it
another.
alone.
If it's an issue, you make it sunset. I mean, I don't know, I mean.
I would leave it alone. You have one,
It was one complaint out of all these years. That's the first time I ever got it. So anyway, I just thought I'd bring it to your attention. Okay. The household hazardous waste collection. Chuck, I suppose you have a comment?
Yeah, it was ridiculous, the way they did it. So I know that they're addressing it. I think you heard back from them and saying, was it you that heard back from the deputy the next day, say it was a mess? They acknowledged it or
Was it
something?
you that told me?
No, he did. Izzo responded to that.
Izzo responded to him.
All right, so anyhow, I know they know it's a problem. I don't wanna beat anybody up. I just wanna say, look, I think we need to say, from a township standpoint, you can't shut down traffic on Menor Avenue like it was, as far down as it was. It was dangerous. It really was dangerous.
Can we?
Huh?
Can we on Menor Avenue tell them they can't?
Now, let me finish. It was.
Not that it's, I'm not saying it wasn't
It was
ridiculous.
ridiculous. So I was here trying to get over to Lake Erie Hart Lawn and Garden over here. And I knew all this stuff was going on because I was just a giant eagle and I had a difficult time manipulating through that traffic and I saw how backed up it was. So I went down to Jackson and I was gonna go up Palmer and I should have because there was no cars when I went past it. But then I came down to Nye to get up here to go left and then go right. Because traffic was so backed up, these cars here on Nye were backed up 5 deep and they could not get onto Menor Avenue. I finally went, I cut through the trailer parks thing and I went right and then I went left and then I had to go around 7 vehicles to pull in front of somebody and people are flipping me off and all upset because they think I'm heading down there. But I went to there and then trying to get out of Lake Erie Lawn and Garden, you can't see the vehicles coming, and first of all, the car, they had it all blocked, I couldn't get out, so I had to wait till somebody was kind to let me out, and then the guy pulled up, I go to get up, but then you can't see, and there's these cars coming down 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, so having said all of that, I think it's very dangerous, and they need to consider splitting the county up into 2 spots, whatever they come up with, I don't really care. But they need to address the concerns of the traffic issues and the safety of Painesville Township. Because if it's gonna be here at the fairgrounds, they gotta do a better job. Either put more deputies out there and do traffic control, or split this thing up, or do something.
They do, it's, every year it's here. This is the only year that they've had to cancel the first one. So they believe that they canceled the first one, so it took everybody that comes in the spring and put them to this one.
Well,
normally it's broke up into 2 and we never have an issue.
No, we do have an issue, because last time it happened, I remember in my local development, people were talking about what a fiasco it was up here.
I don't think it was as bad.
Right.
But they were saying, stay away, avoid Menor Avenue, avoid the fairgrounds. This is 6 months, a year ago, whatever it was.
When you go there, and I haven't been there before, but when you pull in off of Menor Avenue, do they have you go to the right?
I didn't go in there, it was such a mess.
No, yeah, you go in, you go to the right, and it's all the way around.
So if they had you go to the left, and then go down the midway,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
now you've gotten another 100 cars off Menor Avenue.
Yeah, so,
That's viable, Bill, but that won't get enough
Put it on the
traffic
racetrack.
for this past one. My opinion is, yeah, it was doubled up because of the spring was canceled. But even if we opened up with Bill's idea, you're still gonna have traffic down Menor Avenue.
I don't wanna tell them what to do. I think that's for them to figure
I
out.
would agree.
But from a township standpoint, I think we need to send a very nice letter. Thank you for doing this, it's a good service, However, this is the second time that we're aware it caused problems. We believe you really need to address the traffic control and then how it impacts the local community of Painesville Township and the neighboring properties off of Menor Avenue.
Maybe they add a third one and they'll break it up or
Businesses.
something.
Yeah, and then perhaps consider breaking it up across the county.
Well, that's what they should do, is the
Yeah.
West Enders should have to go to the West End.
Yeah.
Because we're getting everybody from the county.
They
They had-
When I lived out in Wickliffe and then in Eastside, I would never come this far for that. It was too far. Now, I use it when I come out here now. A lot of people do. They would get better participation if they
Lakeland
split.
College
There you
or.
go, Lakeland Community College.
Some people come from Cuyahoga County.
Yeah, whatever.
I was in that line on Saturday morning, and I was in the slow line. There's 2 lines going back, and the other line just happened to be going faster. And I saw 3 different cars that had Cuyahoga plates on them.
Does that letter go to utilities department,
Utilities.
landfill?
Well, utilities,
commissioners?
I actually have to call and ask if I send it to Tim or to Randy, but it goes to the utilities department, they run it.
Copy to commissioners, you think?
I know that the sheriff's office is telling them they've outgrown the fairgrounds and they need to deal with it, so it's wherever you
We
want
can
to
copy
say.
everybody. I mean, the interested parties. And it's a
Yeah.
nice letter. It's
Yeah.
thank you for it, and then we appreciate it. And
I saw you
Whatever, but-
screenshots of people, friends on my Facebook, they were all like, everybody was posting what a joke Menor
Well,
Avenue was.
and I came out later in the day, and I'm like, holy cow, it was still bad.
It was still that way at 2 o'clock. The line was, I came back at 2 o'clock to go to my mother-in-law's at Cambridge, and the line was back to Cambridge. And that never happens. In the afternoon, it's always petered out. It's like every event, but this time,
I don't know how far down it went down this way. Did it go down to you, Gabe, where you turn up on Fairfield?
No,
No, it didn't go that far?
No.
Okay, so it was between
on
Nye and
Avenue, yeah.
Fairfield then. But, yeah, it was bad. So a nice letter, thank you, but you really need to do something.
Okay.
Okay, next.
Josh asked me to explain my comment about the CEI tariff, and I don't have a lot of information yet. CEI sent us a notice, they're sending to all the communities. They have what amounts to a new tariff. Josh, your phone's ringing.
No, it's not.
So wait, is that their word, tariff?
Yes,
Okay.
and that's what it's called in the legal documents. It's, because it's approved by the PUCO. And what it is for is when streetlights go bad, they want to replace them with LED lights. But we'll have to pay for it. And they sent me this long agreement giving us various levels that we can choose of what we want replaced. And I need clarification to answer your questions, and I left a message last week for Wendy, she hadn't called me back yet. So I'm gonna have to give you that information.
When you hear from Wendy, can you ask her if there's, any update on the Painesville electric thing? Was supposed to give me, a statement to share with the residents, and this was back before the end of the year. I contacted her with all the stuff going on, blah, blah, blah.
It's not the people option, there's your statement.
Yeah, I know, but, she was gonna give me something, and I've reached out and haven't heard back from her either, so.
What is it that you want me to ask?
She's supposed to provide a statement from the company regarding their take on what's going on with Painesville Electric and their feelings on getting, bringing power out to.
The street lighting thing, a couple things. I've been trying to find a way to, because that's a large expense.
It's $97,000 a year.
We supply all the lights on Menor Avenue.
Start making them
All
solar.
this and that. But those, doing some research, those contracts are supposed to be renewed like every 20 years or 30 years.
What contracts?
The contracts with like the streetlight providers.
With CEI?
Yes,
Okay.
my understanding. But we're doing the research. I'm trying to figure out a way where we could get like the local businesses and that to each, like we do, the residents pay a couple bucks for streetlights. To try to get, not have the township be paying for.
There's no assessment on their property, it's only residential?
Not on the
Well,
common roads,
it's-
not like Menor Avenue.
Who pays for the Menor Avenue?
If the township determines that it's necessary for the safety of whatever, they could pay for it themselves. So originally Painesville Township, all the streetlights on Menor Avenue and all the business districts and stuff like that, we agreed to they put them in and just didn't assess or didn't have the properties. Now, residential people, when they come in, they want streetlights, they form a street lighting district, and you have to have a certain number of people sign for it to say, yes, we want streetlights.
And we'll pay for it.
And we'll pay for it. At that point in time, you have to let them know what their cost is gonna be. And then we had a hearing and made a decision as to whether or not, the majority of the people wanted the streetlights.
All right, so what about the businesses? Can we do something there or what?
Well, again, I haven't been able to figure out a way, because once you kind of make that like the public necessity.
Maybe this new tariff is a way.
If you're gonna ask the business owners to voluntarily pay for the streetlights, they're gonna tell you no.
Can you assess them or no? Like you do the residents?
Well,
No, the residents signed an agreement.
So
They petitioned us.
Right, so technically I don't know what all I'm not an attorney and I don't know what all the rules, but I do know that after a certain period of time, that streetlight contract's not supposed to last for longer than a certain period of time. And that we've either extended it or we gotta be getting close to it. That may be a good or a bad thing, maybe we don't even want to address it because they'll start bumping it up. But my understanding though is that they were required to, the monies that we pay them now require them to keep them maintained.
Yeah, so the money we're paying now, they replace the bulbs, but now they want us to replace the bulbs
Yeah.
with LEDs. I mean, ultimately, it's cheaper for us if they use LEDs, I get that.
No, because it's why, because they're not,
It's
there's no
like a
meter,
contract.
there's no meter at each light.
Yeah, there's no meters.
So they're to save them money,
So that's my
we're
question.
paying the same.
So, yeah, so there's questions are, they want us to pay to replace these with LEDs. Can you find out if they're gonna offer a discount then on the electric usage?
Of course not.
No, so we're gonna pay full pop for the electric to save them usage.
Yeah,
We're gonna pay for the bulbs, we're gonna save them usage and pay the same rate. That's
But
not.
but this is, so they're saying this is a tariff you're gonna pay, and we're debating if they can do that, but they can do that apparently.
We're not debating anything yet because I don't understand it well enough to tell you what your options are. They sent us an agreement to sign and I need clarification on what it means.
All right, so why don't you work with Jeremy?
Yeah.
I want to I can probably get the information from CEI. That's what their communication to me is not clear. I know when I talk to Wendy, she'll explain it and I'll be able to understand it better. So I think this is another discussion down the road when I get more information for you.
Because you know what, there's no, I mean, they send us these friggin' bills, I got no way of friggin' checking them. They don't tell you, where they're at. Every year, we're supposed to or every couple of years, we reassess the other people based upon that the costs have gone up and stuff like that. But here we've got there's absolutely zero accountability or they just send us a friggin' bill every month and that's it. And that's both Painesville and CEI. And I've asked them on a number of occasions, again, looking to try to see if there's a way we can minimize the township's portion of that, because it's become try to find ways to, because that comes out of the general fund.
So Mike, I guess one of the questions that I would have on this is what authorizes them to lay a tariff?
The PUCO.
Okay, so it's PUCO.
Yep.
PUCO says they can lay a tariff, then your hands are tied.
Well, they can lay a tariff, but the question is what is our contract read with them?
Okay, so that's the legal aspect then of where it's at. Again, Jeremy.
And what happens if we say, no, you know what, we don't want the LED lights, we're fine with the lights that we got, just keep.
Yeah, I don't really care. If it doesn't help us, there's no benefit to us, there's no reason to spend extra money.
So I don't disagree. It just wouldn't save us money down the road with LED lights.
I don't know.
They're cheaper.
But who's paying
But
for
we're paying.
Well, we are paying, but
We're paying a flat rate though, we're not.
We're not paying a usage.
it? Yeah, we're not paying for an actual
Okay.
light. Are we paying $3 for an LED and $50 for a normal bulb?
Again, I don't, like I said, I get absolutely zero accountability from these fucking people. I can't even.
Yeah, that's the question. So,
My thought was, our bills don't really change that much, they stay pretty much the same. So they're not going up or down. Okay, sorry. But I get like zero accountability.
if you get a call with Wendy, can I listen in? I mean, if it's possible,
Sure.
I can be available pretty much anytime. That
But,
way I can get a better understanding.
if there's a way that we can say, hey, you know what, if this brings it all up and everything like that, to say, hey, you know what, we can no longer afford, streetlights on Menor Avenue unless the rest of the businesses help kick in. We're not talking a lot of money, I mean, we're talking like,
Probably $30 a year or something.
$30 a year is what
They're not gonna do that.
I don't know what they're gonna do or not do. Can't just say that. Again, I don't know what, if it would be necessary to walk up and down the avenue and get signatures of people to form a street lighting thing.
All right, let's look at options. I'll get more information. Let's look at options.
Yeah, I need more information
There's
to,
just a lot of good ideas, but a lot of.
We did pay for, originally, when on Menor Avenue here, we paid for the upgraded, nice poles and stuff like that.
I think that's what the township wanted, isn't it?
It was.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we paid extra for the non-wooden poles that you see, the nicer poles and stuff like that, through when we did that ODOT project, and that township paid for. That was not part of ODOT, but we paid for the upgraded lamp posts, so that looked nicer.
I wonder if there's a way to do a lighting district that we would initiate through public hearings and say, we're implementing a lighting district, public comments if you're opposed or for,
Right. I don't know.
Okay.
All right,
That's-
well-
That's something that we need to, if, with this part coming up, it's probably a good idea then. We have no money in our budget to do that. We don't have the money to do. We're already paying more money out of our general fund than we have right now.
Just the wording of it, tariff, and I was like, even though you didn't have much information, thank you for sharing.
Right.
And I kind of apologize for asking the question with.
That's fine, I just don't have the information yet. Typically, I'll put these on the agenda after I get the information, so no problem, I'll have it for the next meeting, I'm sure.
Tariff, no flag.
Yeah, just tariff's a bad word.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that's their word.
But it's their word, right?
Yeah.
It's a PUCO term.
So just for like an instance, like, so like, let's say every year I got to recertify these streetlights. I don't know if the cost is gone up on that because they don't break it up by, they say so many of these types of lights, this much, so many of these types of lights. I have no idea if the costs have gone up in those streetlight districts where we can increase it by, 10 cents or 15 cents.
And also like all
Some
the,
people are paying like $1, some people are paying like $3. It's
Gotcha.
goofy. And we get all kinds of calls on it, but I've never been able to get any resolution from either Painesville City or CEI about their, can't be that difficult.
so if I have a lighting assessment on my property tax, where does that money go?
Us.
Okay, so that money does come,
Yes.
it's not much, but okay.
It's pass through,
We front the money to the things and then we get it back in taxes. It's like sidewalks, too. You could do a thing for sidewalks, where people say, hey, we want sidewalks in there,
So I know with,
we can put an assessment in
so
there.
for my street, cause I've talked with Painesville Electric, and the contract for my street is only, they replace the bulb, period, that's it. If there's another problem, they're not on the hook for it.
Really? So if the fixture fails, you have to replace the fixture?
Yeah, so actually,
Wow.
Who replaces the fixture? The township?
No, in this
our,
street, no.
on my street, the homeowners association replaced 2 of them.
Really?
See, that's where.
Lake Erie Shores isn't that way.
I think we pay less than you guys do. So they have different levels of,
Each contract, I think, is separate.
yes, each contract's separate.
And a lot of times what'll happen is that the developer will go in there beforehand, and, because he owns all the property, and he will get the street lighting in there,
Yes.
saying before the residents, before he even builds the houses, he'll go in, form the, the whatever, and
The lighting
have the
district.
streetlights get put in, and then,
Just have your copy.
so, it's goofy, but like I said, we don't, it's like we get like zero accountability from all these things. I don't even know if I've ever seen, other than a contract that they give it to us to disseminate, and I bet you maybe we've only done, in my 20-year period, maybe we've done half a dozen, maybe 10 of those.
You've been here 30 years, haven't you?
But we've only done that people actually came and said, hey, we want streetlights on our street. We've only done maybe half a dozen to 10 of those. Most of the time when the streetlights go up, it's the developers that are doing that before it even gets to us.
Okay, all right, so Mike, I'm gonna move on here. Do you have anything else? I don't see anything on your listing.
No, I just wanted to ask Bill what it was like when we had candles on the poles.
Yeah, we quit doing that because we had to pay guys to come out at night and light it.
Don't I agree, or don't I have the same age line?
That's all I have.
Thank you.
I'll talk to the city if you want to talk about
Yeah,
that.
go ahead.
All right, so not only are they doing their concerts, they're actually doing a movie night also. And they actually did all this in conjunction with the health department. So they were talking to Ron Graham the whole time, and he actually encouraged them to go ahead and do it because Lake County's numbers are so low. He said if this was New York City or something, he would tell them not to do it. But he's encouraging people to do it. So what Painesville is doing for the movie night is they were going to try to do it in cars. They're not doing it in cars, so they're doing it just like you guys. They do have some staff that's going to work that night to make sure that people are staying 6 feet apart. With the porta potties, they are the Porta John company cleaning them beforehand and afterwards, but they're not cleaning it like every hour during. They're posting signs on it saying, basically use it at your own risk. and putting extra hand sanitizer out and having hand sanitizer throughout the place. So they're not having anybody do waivers. They are doing it. The health department said everything was fine to go forward with that. But to post signs on the porta johns that using them at your own risk, essentially. There are public bathrooms that they have. They're keeping closed. I think they said the health department would let them use their regular public bathrooms after mid-July. Also, he said they couldn't do this until after July 1st. So all of these things are happening after July 1st. So I would say the way that you guys were talking about doing it would be fine. Have the porta john company clean it beforehand. I would not have our staff clean them, but we should probably have somebody on staff there to make sure that everybody is maintaining social distancing, which it sounds like kind of happens anyway. So I don't think anybody would have to be too intrusive with that. And again, Ron over at the health department, Ron Graham, actually encouraged them to do it because our numbers are so low in Lake County.
I like his thinking, I know.
Wait a second, but I thought I heard you say stay in the cars. Did you say that?
No, they were gonna do cars, but Ron said don't do that.
Oh.
Yeah, they're planning on doing the cars. They couldn't figure out a way to do anything with the sound, so they're not doing that. Ron Graham said it was fine to have people there, just making sure they keep 6 feet of distance, have extra hand sanitizer, and post notices on the porta johns that you're using them at your own risk.
There we go.
All right, I'm good.
I'm good too.
Should we formally make contact with the health
Yeah.
department too, just,
Oh, that would
Yeah,
be part of
sure.
my due diligence, yeah.
So Josh, you
Yeah.
wanna, never mind, I'm not gonna say it.
I don't want to do more than one. I mean, I don't even want to do one, but I don't want to even venture down the road of doing two.
Why?
What's
What's
the
your reason,
process?
I mean, what's your reasoning between not doing two? If we're doing one, what's the reason?
I don't want to do one even.
I know,
I'd rather
but
not
you're
do any,
But we're doing one, so what's the harm in doing the second one? I don't understand.
because I don't want to do the first one, so why would I say let's do a second one?
Okay.
if I don't do
Well, I think if we're gonna cancel Family Fun Day, maybe we look at doing two, but I mean, at least we do the one, but.
Do we want to see what our experience is with that first one?
Yeah, because that'll give us another
It
month.
doesn't take long to set this kind of thing
Exactly,
up.
right.
The Family Fun Day is a long windup.
That's true.
This is just.
That's
one
an easy, you
vendor.
book one and you didn't come.
Yeah.
It's one
So
vendor.
what's the first date set for? Did we set a date?
Yeah, so,
July, the last Saturday in July, I think, 26th.
Yeah.
July 26th.
Let me make sure.
no, that would be July
Yeah,
25th, Mike, July 25th.
What day of the
Okay.
week is that,
That was in the
Saturday?
neighborhood, July 25th.
Yeah,
Saturday?
yeah.
No
No.
selling food or anything like that.
Well, it's up to them.
They're not gonna do it, so it's irrelevant, but.
Yeah, and just one last thing on that too. Usually, when the city did these, they used to give out popcorn, and they are not doing that. They're not giving out any
Yeah,
food.
we didn't give out popcorn. The History Center set up a table and sold candy and stuff, and, they did sell popcorn, but I doubt, based on this discussion, I highly doubt they're gonna do that anyway, so.
Yeah, and I'd recommend not to. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
And we're doing a bigger screen this year?
Yes.
Nice. All right,
That's what I got.
all right. Who wants to go next?
Go ahead.
First responder.
Order.
There you go.
First
There you
responder.
go.
First responder,
Go
yeah.
ahead, there you go.
The repair work at Station 3 looks good. The dormers are done and the new roof is put on. So that part's done. The stucco work that's all done by hand and it takes a long time. They do have the northern wall done.
I thought we were doing siding.
What's that?
I thought we were doing siding.
On the dormers, yeah. But
No, on the big side, I thought we were doing siding.
no,
What? I thought we talked about that. Didn't we?
we
talk about
did, and then because it's 3 stories high, they can't put siding up that high, it would blow off.
I don't remember that, but.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's
no,
too
no, we
late
did
now.
talk
They're doing
about it.
stucco.
It's what it is. It's a different product. It's called EVIS. It's a styrofoam that they put up and then they put stucco over it, so it's really lightweight.
What keeps it up there as opposed to, moving on to
Well,
problem?
before it was like, they were put up with like mesh, and these are actually like, these styrofoam panels are basically glued up. So but that's what most buildings you see in northern Ohio that are stucco aren't really stucco. They're this product called EVIS, which is a lightweight product. It's basically like a stucco paint instead of you know, what we had on there before was Portland cement that weighed tons. And it was really heavy and the water got behind it and it caused it to peel away.
Well, they used this EVIS term before, Frank did before,
I think
but that's,
it was wrong, I think you.
okay.
It was never
Alright.
EFS,
Okay.
that was never what they had on the building. The building always had Portland cement on it. It had really, I
The
think,
contractor, like,
yeah.
Got a good deal on it.
got a good deal though.
Well, anyways, the stuff we put on now is like lightweight, it's gonna last. I think they said 30 years on the finish. It's dry, it's not, no water's gonna get into it. The other problem that they had with the building is that caps of over the walls were concrete. They were poured concrete to look like stone. They weren't like, usually if they would use the stone product, the water wouldn't get into it, but they use these poured concrete stones and then they sealed them with water seal, but once the water seal wore off after about a year, then the water just drained into those, and they said, you know, a concrete block will hold about 30% of its weight in water. So the water would just sit in those blocks and just steadily drain behind the walls. And that was the biggest problem with the stucco. It wasn't actually the product itself, it was how the water was getting behind it.
Yeah.
Rotting the wood behind it and rusting out they put it up with metal mesh and rusting that metal mesh and everything. It was a mess.
Mm-hmm.
So this product's clean, it's neat, we won't have that problem ever again. So this will be done.
They wrapping those then, right, those stones?
Well, what they've done so
Yeah,
far
right.
is they wrapped them in a rubber membrane, and then they're gonna have aluminum over them. They've got, aluminum flashings that are made to fit those stones, and they're just gonna slide over them and interlock.
Perfect.
So it's going to be waterproof.
There's one detail.
Yeah. So, but it looks really good though. Like I said, that whole front roof, they had to replace the whole front roof. We did talk about doing the metal like you wanted to do, and they said they could. So it would last a long time, but they'd have to put giant snow stops because of the
slope,
slope.
okay.
Yeah, they said it's really a steep roof and it would be hard to keep the snow from creating
Going down,
avalanches.
okay.
So
Makes sense,
they kind of ruled that out. They said, well, there's different grades of the metal too,
yeah,
and they would need an industrial grade, which would cost a lot more too.
Okay.
So it would have been more expensive and more dangerous if they didn't.
well, yeah, I didn't think about that slope part.
So we did talk about that, and the easiest way, the best way is just rebuild what they had. They did put siding on the dormers, those are done. I put pictures, I don't know if you can bring those up if you want. Yeah, I put pictures on the shared drive of what it looks like now. The stucco on the, like I said, the northern wall looks great. It takes those guys a long time to do that. Like I said, they have to put that stuff up by hand, so I'll get a picture up here in a second. The squad's still out for rebuild, and it's obvious. I mean, for repaint, they had a lot more corrosion than they thought. It's taken them a lot longer, but they are painting it now. It's not going to cost us anymore. It just took them forever. That's all. Here, get that up. Maybe. All right.
I looked at them this morning, they were there.
Yeah, we've got new rescue tools too, which TNT is the manufacturer. They're made in Milwaukee, and they use Milwaukee batteries. They're not the, we've always used hydraulic tools before. They have the hoses and stuff you have to drag over to the car accident. We don't have to do that now with these battery operated ones. We plug these Milwaukee battery into them. There's the inside. Like they had to replace the ceiling inside, and you can see, I mean, it's spotless now. We had all the watermarks and stains in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all new wood. That's our TNT tools that I just talked about. That's $40,000 worth of tools that were bought by the firehouse grant. And they came just the other day.
So why don't we do maybe you and maybe you and one of your tenants or something, and we can arrange, and we'll go down there with the lady that runs that shop down there.
Yeah.
And give her a look. We'll all of us take a picture with her and give them a little promotion for doing.
They have a canned press release that they like to use. And so, yeah, we can do
But I
that.
meant, we could all, in front of it, go down, a bunch of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Okay.
get a picture with them, and
Right.
so we can thank them, and, you know, I know that she could use a little FaceTime too, you know, for her business, so,
Okay, I'll set that up.
okay.
Uh,
Shoot us, I mean, these guys usually, what, in the afternoon, late afternoon, Chuck and Josh? But just,
I can have her come here maybe,
well, I thought it'd be cool to do it in front of their,
oh, in front of their store?
what do you
Okay,
think?
yeah, whatever you wanna do, that'd be great.
Okay.
That's, like I
Where's
said,
all
they gave us,
the equipment at?
it's at Station 3 right now.
Put it on there.
I don't know. I thought it'd be cool to do it in front of her place, but they're just down there next to Staples, so it's not that far down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Bring one of them. We could,
Yeah, oh yeah,
Or, yeah, we have the solid reserve engine too, right? When you went drive the engine over there.
yeah, we can do
I
that.
mean,
yeah,
that'd be
do
a
it
good
out in
idea.
front of there, because you can see their sign, well, see there's a way to put it with the sign behind it or something, you know?
Okay.
Can you still drive that big truck?
Me?
Yeah.
I can.
Okay.
I don't do it very often.
He's like, I can if it's really necessary.
Yeah, I can. I didn't forget how, but it's not my choice, but yeah,
Yeah, I know she would appreciate it, we go there once in a while.
yeah,
Yeah, down there is good. I think we can bring the
okay,
backup engine.
yeah, we'll do that.
Which business is that?
Firehouse Subs right
Subs.
next to Staples.
Yeah, okay, we can set that up, I can set that up.
And they also inside, have you ever been in there?
No.
They actually have a vintage fire truck inside the restaurant. So maybe we could also do it in front of there inside. If we want it in front of that fire truck that they have inside. It's the old style with the little piece of glass that sticks in front of the open steering wheel. Have you ever been in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what's in there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have probably Gordon come, he actually put that together, because
Okay, that'd be cool.
he met the woman there, and I think that helped a lot, because he was complaining to her that we never get the grant. A year later, we have it, so,
Good. Because
yeah,
I always asked her about it, and she said, you just gotta apply. And I talked to Frank about that years back, so it's good you guys did it and finally got it.
yeah. So we're training on those new tools, and that's gonna, they'll be in service shortly. That's gonna go on the ladder truck, that runs all of our extrication equipment. Also, there's a combi tool, one of those tools that does cutting and spreading, and that'll go to Station 2 to put on there, and so replace it. Basically, most of the stuff that we have that is hydraulically operated will be replaced with the battery operated. And it works as well, and it's less, you don't get the leaks in the hoses, and you don't have the problem starting the engine, so. The Lake County Fair, I just bring it up real quick, it's canceled this year, except for, there's gonna be a junior fair where they're judging animals and things like that.
Yeah.
But as far as admittance and general admission and rides and events and all that, it's just not gonna, they're not doing that, so we're not doing anything there, so that frees a good bit of our summer planning up. So. But we won't be able to commit guys over there.
How are we doing, from a payroll standpoint, all this?
Well, I was gonna
They
bring
don't
that
have
up
a fair,
next,
they get
yeah.
50,000. If they have a fair, they get 15,000.
The last thing I have to bring up is the call volume is picking up again, that's a good thing. Health Department, obviously, our numbers in Lake County are almost, they're,
Yeah.
1 or 2 a day, it's not, we're very flat, I think, we're less than, according to population, I think we have 200,000 people in the county.
230,000, we have 320 some.
Yeah, we have 300, so we're like, I mean, it's like less than 0.1% of the,
And I heard a lot of them are coming from, not inside, it's people that are going Cuyahoga or other places and then in their Lake County residence. It's not
Yeah.
actually being traced internally in our county, most of them, so
Okay.
that's a good thing too.
Yeah, so because of that, and we're not really getting, I think we haven't had any coronavirus patients, that were very few. I think it's altogether, we've had 3 since the beginning of the transports, of people that actually tested positive after we took them in. And those were early on, so we've been pretty steady for a while. Just And it is starting to cost us overtime more because now guys are out taking their vacation time, they're out. I know some of that we're gonna attempt to get that back with the CARES Act, but I think it's probably in July, I would like to go back to normal operations as long as we don't we'll monitor the numbers, we'll keep an eye on things, but if things stay like they are, I'd like to go back to normal operations in July. That's what I'm
I think it makes sense, especially if the overtime, because we know what's gonna happen in the holidays later in the year too.
Right.
So overtime's gonna be jumping in, so.
And obviously, if there is in the fall, if the numbers start coming up again, we can go back to this. We know that it works and we can do it. But I think at least to kind of accommodate everyone being on vacation and things like that, I think I'd like to go back to normal operations for July.
Very activated now,
So you said the squad is getting painted and will be back soon, so that's going to station, well, it'll be back at some point.
Yeah.
That's going to station 2,
Yes, that'll go to station
and
2.
then the one currently at station 2 becomes the
I'm
reserve.
just worried about what they're
Yes.
gonna deploy in the fall.
And what's the long-term plan for that? Is that gonna get re-chassised eventually?
No, that's gonna get replaced eventually in a couple of years.
Okay.
That'll be the oldest one of our squads, and that was re-chassised once.
Okay, so that was re-chassised once.
Yeah, and I don't think we should re-chassis them more than one time. Right now, just so you know, we had to take, a couple weeks ago, Station 2 squad went out of service with a brake issue and Sean, I don't know if he was out of town or what, but he couldn't get to it for a couple of days, so we had Fairport squad and then he got to it. And right now, yesterday, we had Station 1 squad went out with an antifreeze leak. We gotta figure out where that is, but probably have to end up taking that to Ganley and I think Ganley, and to Chardon, whatever the Dodge dealer is down there. That's under warranty, so that has to go there for their warranty work. But then, so right now, because we don't have the other squad, we have Fairport squad. That's still
Do they not do big trucks over here?
this one, not the warranties, for whatever reason. The warranty stuff has to go to Chardon. I don't understand it either.
It's because they don't want to do it probably.
Yeah, and it might be the big truck. I know last time, every other time that we've called them, we've had to take it to Chardon, so.
Yeah.
So once all that replaced, and then when we have our own reserve engine,
Then
then
we
we will
won't-
be solid.
We won't be doing that. We still have that agreement in place with Airport Squad where we do half the maintenance and then, we haven't really, with Sean, he's been able to fix whatever it is and let them pay for the parts and he fixes it. So it doesn't really cost us anything to have that agreement in place right now. I think as it gets older, it probably will.
Yeah,
So-
we'd rather,
Yeah, I would rather not have that, not take this any further than that one. Yeah.
because we want to make sure we don't get into, we have, all the squads have been, that's the oldest one now, right? The 4-wheel drive one over here.
No, the one at Station 2.
Well,
Yeah.
once the remount comes back,
Mhm.
then this is the oldest one.
Yeah, and that's only 2 years old now, so,
Okay.
yeah, so we'll be in really great shape for equipment once we get the last squad up, so, yeah. All right, that's all I have.
Chief, let's talk overtime.
Yes,
So, I'm looking at the numbers,
Mhm.
doing better.
yes.
We're doing better, no doubt there, but we still got some ground to make up for the first few months. So how are we doing there? I mean, how are you going, your guys? And
Well, right now, I think the biggest thing, it's helped a lot to have, the pay increase that we gave to part-timers. I have actually also have applications, I haven't put anybody on recently because our stations are closed and guys on top of each other trying to train new people, but I'll be doing that now that we're opening back up, putting some more people on. Also, the shifts are being filled pretty much. The ones that aren't being filled right now are the ones where I've got 4 people at this station and this one dropped down to 2, but I can't transfer anybody over because we're not trading stations. So in July, hopefully that'll go away too, so. But yeah, the part-timers are being offered the shifts as they come open before the full-timers, so we kind of switched that up.
How's that going over with the full-time guy?
I think because of the current conditions, I haven't heard any complaints right now. You know, I think it happened at probably a good time because no one really paid too much attention to the change in policy, because there was several changes in policies all at the same time, you know, staffing and things like that, so. I didn't get any complaints, put it that way.
Okay, well, that's good to hear.
One or two grumbles, but no real complaints.
So I'm looking at the numbers and projecting it out through the year. I know we gotta bring it down, so there's still room to bring it down significantly, because last year was a spike of about 70 grand. I know we increased the salary of the part-timers to help level that out. Hopefully it all works, but we just need to continue keeping an eye on it and get that number down, because ultimately it's gonna cost us equipment that's gonna be delayed purchase or whatever, which we don't wanna do. So anyhow, all right, good. Thank you very much.
And how much are we getting back from the CARES Act?
Well, right now, we've spent in overtime that we could have covered without, you know, if we could have moved people station to station. Right now, as of June 1st, it was $18,000.
Okay.
So
Is that what they're covering for us?
that's what, when we put it in for, yeah, that's so far, so.
So it's any additional overtime because of the virus is what qualifies?
Right.
And any equipment or any PPE and all that stuff?
Right, that stuff too, right.
I need computers too, right? For teleworking, maybe not for you guys, but I thought, I was reading that if, you know, we needed to make computer purchases to allow people to continue to work from home, that was reimbursable.
It is.
Well, maybe, have we
Did we do
purchased,
that?
have we purchased laptops for,
Probably
No.
not, right?
I need a laptop.
well, I'm just saying, you guys,
That's why.
what's Harley using at home?
Pardon me?
What's Harley using at home?
Her personal computer.
That's what I'm getting at. I mean,
If you want us to, we can.
I think if it's reimbursable, and she should be working from a government computer, I believe, so let's look into that.
If it's reimbursable.
If it's reimbursable.
I want to be able to tie into the UAM system. They got a system thing with it now that where I could tie in from home.
But I think we should, if it's reimbursable.
How many am I looking at?
I want one.
I just bought one.
I don't know,
Harley.
what's Rich using his personal as well?
Rich is set up really well at home. It would not be my
Okay, yeah, that's
suggestion.
It's not even rough that one.
And you have one already, right? So I would say 2.
Yeah. If they're reimbursed.
I will verify that. I know I've read that somewhere, but I will verify it.
I'll verify them. We should just get 5 of them.
Well, let's verify the
I'm already
reimbursement.
skeptical on
I
whether,
need one.
I understand, you're on the list.
until the money comes into the account, I'm skeptical.
Yeah, but I
Well, you don't get it in front.
Oh, I know you don't.
It's a
I think you
reimbursement.
get 2, we could start, let's say 2. Harley can use one, but if there comes a situation where somebody else needs to work at home or whatever, then there's that available, and then the one that you're gonna use as well for doing the work that you need to do out of the office.
If we have them, they'll be uses.
So then I would say that,
Then I go sit on
then,
the shelf.
I don't think 5, but why don't we look at 3 in case somebody else gets sick and we can utilize, because here's the thing, not only if you're sick, you're off, right? But then you have this time where you're forced to not come into work.
That's where Harley is right now. She got sick a week ago, and it just turned out to be a head cold, but
Sure.
she's home for 10 days. She can't come back till 10 days after.
And that's what I'm getting at, so let's utilize, in case we have somebody else that needs to be out, we have the equipment available.
So would Harley bring that back and forth and use that as her main computer?
Well, she's gonna be working in the office again starting tomorrow.
Right, but my question is if we get a new laptop for her to use, so she can work remotely, does she also use that when she's here in the office? Does she
Oh.
somehow connect it to a monitor?
Depends how good of a computer with a laptop.
I think
Yeah, let's discuss that.
should
But
be,
that would make sense.
that would make sense. Then we're not paying 2 maintenance agreements with our
Yeah.
IT group, right? We don't have an extra computer now we're adding. If it's replacing for,
Oh, okay.
right,
Gotcha.
CHM
Understand. Gotcha.
charges us per
Gotcha.
license, per user,
Right.
or whatever.
Gotcha.
Plus, that would be beneficial if she's gonna work in the other office when Rich leaves and she moves in his office, she can just take her laptop with
Laptops
her.
are so much nicer.
I just hate
But we
working
got
on
a
it.
little bit of a, we got a,
I do.
I got monitors, you know what?
That's the best,
Just-
when you hook them up to like a dock and you can put them on monitors, that's great.
Yeah.
But I don't know
Oh,
how people
no,
work
yeah.
on them all the
I
time.
just bought a
the
17
docking
inch to
stations
make
are
it
like
bigger
nothing
like
now,
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you know.
What about
I
cost
think
for
like a
us
20,
to like
21 inch.
Yeah, big old one.
CMH or whatever that name is for like setting up the meeting stuff, the Google Hangouts, all that kind of stuff.
They haven't charged us a dime.
Okay.
That's one company, they said, here's your
What?
cost, it's monthly, everything's included, and they haven't charged us a dime.
Okay.
And they put a lot of time into this.
Well, I'm just
We're
saying,
not always good at it.
could they, is that a cost that we could recover?
But we haven't paid them anything.
Well, generally,
You
the
know,
group,
like, we could-
well, generally,
we
you
could
buy
have
it,
them
you
bill
buy
us
it like
separately and
license,
then
when you have a corporation,
reduce our
you buy. If you were,
I
I
don't
get
know if I'm
my
comfortable
license.
manipulating
My
the system.
business, I buy
The
it,
only
like
reason why they're
$5
doing it is because they're paying a shit ton for the
So
other.
you buy like a,
So,
oh, like, yeah,
yeah.
Yes.
like you see, like a
Okay, I don't know.
franchise license or something.
I guess my
you can buy
question
it from a
is
corporation,
that
that's way cheaper than
there's-
spending
Let's put it this way, there's a pot of money out there,
$199, you buy it.
and it's gonna get sucked up.
But I'm not,
It might give you-
I'll do anything legit, Mike, but I'm not gonna
saying be
manipulate.
illegal about it.
Manipulate the bill.
Okay.
For Microsoft, I just get it.
I'm not trying to be
I get
interjected.
discounted.
Just saying
for
that
$70 a year.
We had our certain costs,
Right,
we have them,
But
you
I'm
know,
saying,
just
on
because we have a
they sell out
relationship
for-
with these guys.
There's a cost, the CARES Act is to reimburse you for out-of-pocket expenses you incur for.
Above and beyond
this.
normal, right? Above and beyond normal.
Yeah, and they're gonna be looking at that in the audit, is this an above and beyond expense or not? And if we don't pay CMH extra,
Permanent for the program.
Okay, that's fine.
Are you the Seacrest maintenance or
Yeah.
the cleaning, we just had, and then we roll
Oh,
that in
yeah.
and our
yeah,
work.
everything
So
we're spending on this is on a spreadsheet in Karen's office. Absolutely everything.
$9.95 I paid.
Okay, so where are we at?
Service department.
All right, that was a tangent.
Okay, so on Melrose Drive, there's a resident that lives next to the Barton ditch. And when we're getting the heavy rainfalls, he's continually getting, the water's coming out of the Barton ditch and going into his backyard. He has spent a significant amount of money to improve his backyard and patio and landscaping, and he would like some help to make sure that the ditch isn't gonna overflow again. So, I talked to Stormwater, we've met out there. Stormwater, that Barton ditch has been studied for the last 40 years. There's nothing
Sorry.
that we're going to do to improve the ditch flow. But there's some thought that with some creative landscaping and, adding some dirt and some mounds that we may be able to keep the amount of water that's jumping out of the ditch from getting into his yard. So all Stormwater is asking is if we're on board, they'll take the next step to see what we can do to help there. It's not going to be a significant expense.
Do you have a house number, Bill? Do you have a house number? I got a map right here. If you want to
Leonard, the last name is Leonard.
Go to like GIS.
Couple houses in on the left?
Yeah, it's the second house past the culvert.
Okay.
They put a new box culvert under Melrose and extended it as far as they could, but then the way the topography is, the box culvert was gonna be sticking out of the ground. So they had to stop.
I've been in his backyard before.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's,
Stormwater's taking the lead, right? So it's not us going to do something. Stormwater's gonna get involved,
yes,
make a suggestion.
yes. And it's, the problem was made worse when they ran that line down Palmer. When they did the Menor Avenue project, they added a significant amount of water to the Barton ditch right at Palmer, and first place it has to spill out is his backyard.
Yeah, I think I'm all for having, it's an issue, and if
What side of
stormwater.
the street is he on? Josh, help me out here. You know where it's at?
Yeah, or he's up in here, right there.
This one?
Leonard.
Oh, Leonard Jackson, I got you. I thought that was the last name. Okay, so where's the Barton ditch on this thing?
Which one's is his house?
This one right here.
Okay, so it comes over from, there's a scroll down just a little bit.
Any let help?
So at Palmer, there's a manhole right here that turns into the Martin ditch. Let's see where it is
Old
now.
Martin ditch, been painted
It's
up
only-
for.
Oh my gosh.
I wish that ditch never existed.
This-
Yeah.
Hard to put it there.
That's him right here.
This house.
Yeah.
Okay, so it turns into open ditch right in this area, and it's open ditch to about this area. It spills over the ditch, it's in this yard and this yard.
To get into the houses?
No,
So what's stormwater, when you had stormwater there, what did they say?
they're thinking if we can build up a berm, a dike, or something along this side of it to keep it from spilling out into his.
Is that gonna push it into somebody else's yard?
Well, that's why they have to start studying.
So stormwater wants to look at it?
Yeah,
Okay, so you're proposing what? I kind of lost the point of,
just to give stormwater, the township is behind, let's see what we can do to help this guy.
is there any more follow-up with stormwater with up there on Paradise?
Yes,
What can you tell me about that?
so.
If we're done with this one, are we done with this one?
Yes,
Okay.
there's, Tim has gotten 2 engineering consulting firms that, he's gonna ask to look at that. And then,
Mike too, just out of curiosity.
Just-
Competing bids?
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
See what they're gonna say, okay.
And then Stormwater is going to send a letter to the 2 property owners on each side of that ravine. There's going to need to be an easement if this project is going to go forward. And if they're not willing to get on board with that, then we might need to look at Plan B. But we're not going to force them to. We typically don't, eminent domain, we typically don't do that. So we're just gonna get both of those people on board, and I think that they're going to be on board.
So this is the
Just because
side-
it's going to improve what that looks like.
This would be the south side of Paradise?
Yes,
South
yes.
side?
Yes,
So they wanna run an easement between their properties, so they probably run a pipe or something through there?
yeah, that's where that pipe was going to go. They're kind of a vacant lot there. Yeah, so we're gonna make, feel them out, see if they're on board, and then, when they pick a engineering firm, I'll meet up there with them and show them what the problem is, what we want to accomplish with it, and then they can start drawing that up and come up with a cost estimate. So
Okay.
that is where we are with that.
Okay, very good, thank you.
We'll talk about the speed trailer a little bit now. So I put all of the information in there.
That was interesting.
So the speed trailer, it shows it was there for a week, but because we were learning on that thing, we moved it from Birch to Bacon without taking it back to the garage and recharging it, so the battery went dead after 5 days. It'll last a week, but we're gonna have to recharge it between streets. So, there was, in that amount of time, there was 10,800 vehicles went down Bacon Road in
How many?
5 days, 10,800 in 5 days. And 18 of them went above 60, 218 went above 50, and the rest were in that 40 range.
Just like
So, no, she says, she might be watching up there.
So out of 10,807 vehicles, there were 5,309 were speeding.
So we don't have any data to see how this compares against anything else. It's just interesting. I saw those numbers like, oh my Lord, that's just crazy. Over 60, I could see that. I mean, if you're not paying attention, you can fly down that road.
There's nobody else on it.
Yeah, there's nobody else on it. I mean, I looked at my speedometer before, and I'm tracking 50. I was like, oh my Lord, backing off, we're going through residential neighborhood.
Yeah.
So on that same sheet that's showing the total number of vehicles, it's showing what, if we were finding people for that, the revenue that could be generated.
My neighbors put up lights.
$192,000.
For the streetlights.
Pay for the streetlights.
Yeah, yeah, so. So anyway, that was just, it's interesting, and the more we use it, the better we'll get it at collecting the data.
Where do you have it now?
It isn't anywhere now. Does anybody have any place you want it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, where do you want it?
You got
Chuck's
Chuck's.
right
Well, go ahead, I got one, that one, that's, someone else take it.
I had somebody complaining about Normandy,
Okay.
so,
Yeah, we'll put it on.
they were requesting sidewalks, which I explained the whole thing, but because they all walk, they're like, so many people walk and people fly around those curves,
Yeah,
So,
Alright. I'll put it southbound after you.
What's that, Mike?
They're dodging the geese.
Oh, God, right, got some.
So I'll put
Sign
it southbound right after you
cross
pass
there.
the curve.
Yeah.
I'll put it there.
what? Did you see it got broke down? What? One side got broken, the wind took it down.
Yeah, can you put it next to the geese crossing?
Oh, I replaced it.
Oh, no, I'm just saying it did, yeah.
I wanna see if that geese crossing sign's working.
I haven't seen any of these cooked goose on the road, so maybe it is.
Keep in mind, if it's a county road or a state route, we can ask the sheriff to put their trailer out too.
We really haven't put it anywhere.
We can, yeah. But I've had somebody question or wanted it on, Park Road, and so the sheriff.
The sheriff's department just had theirs on Park a couple weeks ago.
Yes, 'cause I sent them something,
you
and
think,
then Riverside Drive as well.
You think
Yeah.
the speed's on
It's
Bacon
on
High Road,
Fairgrounds
the
now,
speed's
the
on
sheriff
Park
department.
Road?
Yeah.
I bet there's more than a couple
Yeah.
60s on that
So-
road, man.
Okay, so, the Haddon sign, is that what we're gonna go with?
I like it.
Haddon
You
Park?
guys good with that?
That's a nice looking sign, yeah,
How
that's
big
really nice
is it?
looking.
I don't know how big are we thinking?
If wide as the big ones that we got on Menor Avenue.
Okay.
That's big.
I don't know that it's that high, but that's the kind of guidelines they gave them. I'll find out for sure. And it's just a matter of what kind of posts we want to attach it to.
White?
Just white one, okay, yeah.
But I was thinking, we could do like that one that I showed you, where we do, instead of like an ornate piece, make it more like, square, and then maybe have them like slope down, come like halfway up, so like
With the post you mean, or the sign?
yeah, the post.
Post, yeah,
You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
I know which one you mean, and I was thinking about that too.
Okay.
We could put maybe three posts and have each one go down a little.
No, I was talking more like, so you have the sign, right? My placement sucks, but have them blocked with like, it's just a slope down. That one I sent you,
Yeah, I'm gonna find that now.
I'm not an artist, so.
What kind of posts?
I was thinking just like like something like that, yeah. But maybe just even one or two.
Yeah.
Like that.
Two like that?
Yeah, I like that. Do you like it?
6x6s or something?
Yeah.
Not, 4x4.
No, I mean, like
No.
6x6.
6x6 or 8x8, whatever you.
I think an 8x8 would be cool. Two, and
Whatever.
and have them step down.
And did you want them cedar or do you want them white?
I don't know, I guess the cedar would look good with that, and it would be less maintenance. Cedar's gonna last forever.
Go over to,
Yeah, we'll do something.
Go over to Cedar Glen and Heatherstone, look at those signs. Look at the one in the woods for,
Boulder Ridge.
Boulder Ridge.
We'll take care of it better than they did. Maybe something like that then.
That's, I like
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Okay, I'll get that
You wanna show
ordered.
Chuck?
Your call. What do you think is gonna look
Yeah.
good and last?
You go with that, Chuck?
Yeah, Chuck's good.
I'm good. Yeah. I wanna get a third opinion in
The
there.
resolution that we have on there for the summer help, we had talked about that at the last meeting, but we never passed a resolution.
Oh.
To increase it from 11 to 12, because the conversation was they could go to
It's funny, I
Target.
saw we hired somebody at 11, and I thought we bumped that up, but
No,
we gotta adjust that.
We did, but we never passed a resolution, so they, yeah. So the road projects update, first with the Trotter Bridle Path Morgan, that's the one where we're tearing the concrete out, replace it. They're pouring all of the driveway aprons yesterday and today. They're gonna put the asphalt down on Trotter tomorrow, and then on the 18th, they're supposed to move to the next phase, which will be part of, doing half of, Morgan and Bridle Path, so. There hasn't been a lot of,
So, did you see this Painesville City's post about OPWC?
yes.
Yeah.
That's not the information that,
That's what I was getting at.
that I.
Okay.
I don't think they were ready.
Okay, that's what I
Well,
thought.
about what?
I'm just saying that they couldn't do the
They're
project.
saying
with
that
the money, but they already had the
Skinner
money,
because OPWC money wasn't there.
but they've already been,
No. Skinner money was supposed to get authorized July 1st. So they had not been authorized yet for the money for Skinner.
the way they made it sound was that they got it, but it was just not getting distributed.
Well, they were technically awarded, so they found out in the fall that they would have gotten the money for Skinner.
Right, but the notice that I read from OPWC said that any of the TIF projects for the next round, 35, those were already in the transportation bill, so they would be funded, and that's what it's, the one that we've got approved for next year.
Skinner was the skip funding
Oh, okay,
because it
Okay.
had utilities involved.
Okay.
Okay.
so we're okay for next year.
Yeah, I read that and I was
I
just,
don't know.
I read that and I was confused.
Well, that's, when I read it, it said that it was already in the transportation bill for
2021.
2021, so that those would be funded. So,
Well, yeah, we'll need to get confirmation for sure on that.
but, so then the Nelmar, berming and restoration, and, it's not good.
Well, I was very surprised when you told me who did the project, and then I was like, wow, the road is really nice. So I knew it had to be too good to be true that
Well, yeah.
we got away with a clean project.
They missed the grade on a couple of driveways, and they know that, and they gotta come back, but when they burned it, they didn't use, screening, so there's big chunks of asphalt, and, they didn't really roll it good, but Fruitland looks pretty good. I went down Fruitland, and they did a better job on Fruitland, and they didn't do bad down in the park either, but they have not come back to do
Yes.
the manholes, raised
What?
manholes. in
Do
the
we have a
park.
hold back still on that?
Pardon?
Are we holding back monies on those?
I want to until, especially because they gotta do, I think 18 manholes down in the park yet.
So how does this process play out now with them? Because, driving up there, did you get a chance to drive
I
up there?
did, yeah. So we gotta let the county do, what happened in past years, right? We gotta let the county do their thing.
Which is what? What does that mean?
I don't know, but remember last one year, after stuff was done, like, we all got calls, we contacted the county and they got all wound up.
Yeah.
So
Well,
let us do our thing first.
I would like to have a walkthrough with either Ted or the inspector on the job and be able to come up with a punch list.
Yes,
Yeah,
I agree.
know.
Isn't that
It's
crazy?
crazy. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
They just.
Let me see what you were.
Here's the thing, this company always wins the bids. And then it seems like we're always,
No, we rotate around.
I thought,
We've had it several
Last year,
times.
Chagrin Valley.
So how do you-
Yeah,
so-
all right, let me rephrase it.
I know.
When this company wins the bids, I feel like there's always this type of discussion happening after they do the
The
project.
last time we didn't, they
No,
were.
last year they were okay.
That
The
was,
first year.
that was Chagrin Valley last year.
That was Carbo
Oh, they
last
used
year.
to-
The year before.
Carbo did the OPWC project last year.
Last year. right.
So the first year we used them, or the first 2 years that Josh and I were on, there was all sorts of problems. And then you had some conversations and things seemed to go good. I think there was a couple of years where there was okay. Now this year is just ridiculous what they did.
Were they the ones who did Hawthorne? Or Hackathorn?
Yes, yes.
That's where we had the issues.
Those
That was the year we had the issues, the
Yeah.
Hackathorn.
Yeah.
And then we have a sloping issue on, was that down in the Pines or something? Do we have some sort of water collection issue or?
Yes, but that wasn't Carbo.
Okay.
So I think everybody's got issues.
All right, okay. I thought it was, that's what I was getting at, okay.
So in areas where, I mean, obviously either the roadside was lower before, but where they put the berm material, and now somebody's got 6 inches or more sticking
Yeah,
up.
stupid.
Can't they roll that out
Well, so what they did is they came off the edge of the road, kind of that
and
slope.
squared it off?
Yeah,
I
which
saw that.
from the roadway standpoint, that's what you want, but now these people have.
Right, and that's the thing, if the
And
Berman
it's loose, so it's not gonna last.
took a rake in a room with them, it would go a long way to.
Well, that's loose
It-
material
no,
too,
it-
right?
It will eventually lock up and it'll last, I think.
Well, I'm saying, but can't they isn't there some way to roll that to compact it a little bit better so it's not
Well,
loose
the
material?
problem, if it's a big drop off and you try to roll it, then you just start smashing it down and then it's lower than the road.
They need like an angled
I
road.
only saw one house like that, and that's this picture right here, and it's bad. What are you
Well,
supposed to do?
I asked his neighbor who lives, I asked his neighbor, hang on.
Which neighbor?
On the same side of the house, same side of the street, one or two houses from the one you're talking about. And I just said, how's the edge of your road look? And the issue, he says, not bad. I think it looks pretty good. Gives me an edge to follow while I'm mowing the grass. So, that's what he said. And that guy he's about, 5 houses towards the new part from Angelo.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Some are better than others.
Some are okay,
Yeah,
others are just ridiculously terrible.
yeah.
And then like, so the one guy who called me, he says, you know, if you're pushing your lawnmower and you got these big chunks, you can't cut your grass up there because there's these big, like you said, it wasn't graded. So anyhow, so you know it's addressed. What's the process? How does this play now? What happens?
I will call Ted and find out if I can get a walkthrough and make a punch list with, and then ask them to address it.
So,
How soon will they, I'm sorry, Josh, hang on a second. How soon will they address it?
I don't know.
And who's that? The county? When we say they, that's the county?
Well, the county will have to,
Like when they
will have to
approve
get
it.
a hold of the contractor and say, these are the things that need to be addressed to complete the project.
And we can sit on that invoice. And when
Mike.
that invoice comes in, we can
Yeah.
drag our feet.
Yes,
Because they haven't fixed those aprons they missed, right?
right.
So,
Right. And Chuck, I know that Roger's concerned with his apron, but honest to God, I think it's gonna be worse if we do anything, because right now, it might have that little curve part to it, but it's smooth. If we go in there and do anything, there's gonna be a lip. You know, and I think that once he seal coats his driveway, whether it's this year or next year, you're never gonna know that it had that little curve in it. I just think he's gonna end up with 2 lips now, if we do it.
the fix can be worse than what you have now.
But if it wasn't done right in the first place, or if it looks like hell, I mean, people take pride in their yards, and rightfully so. So if they come in and they do a half-assed job, it's like they didn't really care.
Well, I think what the problem was, the reason they went a little crooked there is because he had a lower spot in his apron, so if they'd have gone straight, then there might have been a bad spot in his driveway. I think they tried to do him a little bit of a favor, but I really think that if we do it, he's not gonna be happy with what we do. It'll be smooth and it'll be straight, but there'll be a lip there.
Why can't Carbo fix it? Carbo, I mean, that's just, Carbo says it's good and it's good? Is that how it works?
The county's gonna probably say it's good.
I mean, I'll talk to Roger and try to explain to him what's gonna happen if we go back and do it.
I don't know. So I guess looking at it, I mean, I don't do this for a living. I just know that in my job, when I do something, I always make sure it looks nice. You know, there's a finish aspect of every job you do. You just make sure it looks nice. And with that, it's like, it doesn't look nice. It's a wave across this driveway, and people take pride. I mean, even in the little things. It's like looking at, he's pointing out, yesterday I was there, and he's pointing out how where the mailbox is, and they're doing this dropping stuff. They just went and kind of like curved it on the edge down to his driveway, and it's like somebody just dropped a bunch of crap and then stamped it and say, okay, that spot's good. I mean, his driveway is nice the way it came out. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, Bill, is that sometimes the fix, and I get what you're saying too, Josh, the fix isn't gonna make it good. It's better just to leave it alone. But it's just the point. You guys did a half-assed job. Put a little pride and professionalism. So when it comes to pride and professionalism on jobs, is that gonna play into bids at all? So you know, that thing, when I was on council in East Lake, we used to say the lowest and best bidder. It's like, what a stinking joke that is. It might be the lowest bidder, but it's certainly not the best bidder. So Jeremy, you on?
Yep.
Jeremy. So this thing with the lowest and best bidder, I mean, so if we have issues with Carbo, at what point can you say they might be the lowest bidder, but they're not the best bidder, and then override them, and then what happens? And if you can't answer that now, maybe at another conversation.
I can answer more fully in another conversation. You'd have to be able to articulate what made their offer.
So like when these bids come in, for road projects, you have to accept the lowest bid.
No,
And
you don't, do you?
No, it is low.
technically, you gotta
You just would have to be able to articulate better than somebody else's.
Jeremy, you're breaking up. Your volume isn't good.
You're breaking up.
Sorry about that. Is it any better now?
I think so.
All right. So you just would have to be able to articulate what made that offer better than the other one. Obviously, the easiest thing is always to say the lowest, because TV is just numbers. For best, you'd have to articulate what things are. And I could do a little bit of research to see what there is on what makes something better than another.
So I think what we would need to do is, at the conclusion of the project this year, send them a letter. If we have a letter in our files from us to Cargo saying, you know, we're not happy with the quality of work, we don't like, whatever the issues were, if we have something that we submit to them to let them know we're not happy with the quality, if we have some sort of documentation, I mean, I think that would be the first step. We would need to have some sort of written documentation.
When I brought this up with Ted after the year with the Hackathon project about maybe not giving it to them the next year, he kind of alluded, you have to prove that they didn't fulfill their contract. And they did what the contract said, so.
Well, that's also on the back end. On the back end, if you're picking somebody who's not the lowest, be a little bit different, but obviously then that would open you up to the other person who had the lowest who didn't get it, be able to sue you and say, I should have gotten that.
Okay, if you could look into that and see maybe for the next meeting.
Yeah, I should be able to help you pretty quick.
But I think you gotta have something to fall back on of, hey, you're the lowest, but we've had issues before with you, and we've documented those issues. We're not selecting you. But we could run into this with any contractor, so.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's some case law out there. I'm sure a lot of communities get sued by contractors who had the lowest bid but didn't get it. So we can look into that.
Challenge it.
So
Right,
you can find something.
they'd be able to challenge it, so we'd have to have a good rationale as to why we pick somebody who wasn't the lowest.
Okay.
All right, I will.
I just sent Mike some pictures. Can you put those up on the screen, Mike? I emailed you some pictures.
I can try. I can put them on our screen. I don't know if people are remotely able to see them. Haven't got it yet.
Okay, all right, so, I want to come back to that when they show up in a few minutes. What else do we have? What's next?
Okay, the only other thing I have, I'm gonna be on vacation from July 1st to the 10th. We won't meet before then, so.
What are we gonna do with Township? What if I get this urge at whatever stupid time it is to bring your boat?
How we doing on your stormwater retention pond?
Yeah. If anybody but me answers, it's bad timing. If I answer, it's fine.
Just do me a favor, send it, so that I try my best not to call it.
I know, I always feel bad.
Yeah.
It's all right. If I can answer, I'll.
Danielle's probably like, oh my God, this never happened before. I like the old trustees better.
So stormwater retention and the other project over here with no need. Any movement on any of those?
Yes, can you give us, do you know any updates on, I know that you wrote something,
I'll just give it to you. Yeah.
I saw that, there's something in the report on the center, go ahead, Mike, what do you remember?
It's just what I put in the report, that now the stormwater is going through piles of easements.
Oh, because the engineer's office gave them a stack of the easements, now they have to sort it out.
Yeah.
And then once they sort it out, they'll have a complete listing, then they're gonna go and address,
Well, we are going to go and address, it'll be a we.
it'll be a week.
Yeah.
Has there been any movement on Fairway Pines? Heard anything?
We're waiting to hear back from environmental whoever that,
Yeah.
whoever, their consultant. They're supposed to provide an updated report, and I've not heard anything since the last time we talked, so I can ask.
So they're moving into design.
Well, they started to go there, and then what happened was, we were all good. We were all good, and then they went into the other side. So you have water coming up between Greenway and the Pines. So they were all good, and then there was a problem with the water on the other side, Greenway. I don't know what that was all about, but there was something with the EPA or Army Corps.
Okay.
So that one kind of got held up for that. So that's the last I heard, unless you know something different.
We haven't heard since then.
Well, they were gonna now see about running a pipe from, Duffton, from the Pines into somewhere in there, but that, we're just waiting for them to give their report.
I will follow up and ask where they're at.
Would it be nice to get that over?
Chuck's email came in.
Yeah, there was a couple emails I sent. Yeah, it's like they didn't all go through, but anyhow. So, yeah, I mean, so this was Roger's house, and that's where I said, where they just took and they just dumped the crap. So people take pride in their, is this one of Roger's? I think it is.
Yeah, it is.
I've been the inspector on jobs, and I've ripped the same thing, the pride of workmanship. It is nearly impossible to get the contractors are doing things. If you bring this up, they're gonna come out, spend 2 minutes, try to tidy it up and move on to the next, and you still won't be happy with it. I mean, not that it's right, but.
So do we, in future
Contract.
projects, do we include, when we bid them out, do we start including a contingency cost included to hire a company to come out and landscape these yards after they're done?
Can you bid that? That'd have to be part of the bid package.
Yeah.
Well, we had, for a few years, we had said to put topsoil and seed down on these roads. And then the grass didn't grow, and then.
Sure, because they just throw
you know,
seed on it.
We were out there.
Because they did a terrible job of doing topsoil and seed.
Right, yeah.
So I'm saying, so you get a real company to include them in your bids, landscaping to come out that's gonna seed and dirt,
But it's still went through the,
so we can pay for it out of
but
the.
you wouldn't do a separate contract. You have to bid it all together as a road project, and the contractor's just gonna do it himself.
Couldn't you make that a separate part of the contract and send that one for the construction, one for the landscaping? I mean, it's not that hard. We open bids and say you got it. It's not like we have to do any more work.
OPWC, you can do 2.
Yeah. Well, these are just our projects, but the companies that are coming to do burn work are paving companies.
Yeah.
They're gonna.
But I'm saying
It
stuff
just-
like this, you need a landscaper to come in and really to seed and dirt that in the way it
Well,
should be done.
that's not really landscape. They're not using dirt. They're using those grindings. It would just be nice if they took a rake and a broom with them and they dressed it up as they went.
So
But the grindings come out of a machine, just like the asphalt does on the side, and then they roll over it, and that's the end of it.
But Bill, so you just said it would be nice, and there's a difference between being nice and being required.
Right.
So what's the difference here? Are they allowed to just, and the other pictures, did anything else show up, Mike? Because there's some other pictures that are much worse.
Well, the bid says that they have to burn it. They burned it.
Does that define, is burn defined anywhere? I don't know, it's probably too big of a file. So is that defined anywhere as to what burn means? Is that something that we've got to, this is ridiculous.
Is that something we could just follow up with our road department?
Well, yeah, but then we shouldn't have to. We're paying these guys how much stinking money to do their job? So from a contract standpoint, is this something we have to define in the contract, what a berm is? Fine graded?
Yeah, like, do we have to
I
define it?
I know what's gonna happen on Nelmar, that these people have raked all these asphalt chunks out of their yard up on the berm, and we're probably gonna have to go pick them up.
So all right, so let's say that, so we're going to complain to the county's then gonna file whatever they do, and then contact Carvo. Carvo's gonna come out and do another half-assed job,
Yes.
and then, because they're gonna meet the legalities of the contract. So going forward, you're gonna have to fix it, probably. I understand that, don't like it, but I get it. But going forward, can we have that put in the contract? Define what a berm is, fine graded, whatever, no larger than the size of a pebble? 1 millimeter diameter.
Yeah, I guess we could say that it has to be, screened,
Yeah, why wouldn't we do that?
because you know what they put on Park Road looks great.
Yeah.
That was a different company.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
I would say, why can't we specify it in there and then we hold them accountable? Because now we have no ground to stand on. But Chuck's saying, if you define it and call it whatever you think's the best wording, then we can come back and make them do it.
And then to address across the driveway, so to address across the driveway, feathered, but linear across, so you can't do it, because like on Roger's driveway,
It's all jagged.
it's a wave.
Yeah.
It's a wave. I mean, that's just ridiculous. He shouldn't have to
Should
go
be a
back.
straight cut or whatever.
Is
and
this
just
an
be straight.
OPWC project or our project?
This is our
Ours.
project.
Oh, okay, well, we just hold the money back.
So,
We'll hold it back as long as we can, but at some point you gotta
if
pay.
everybody's got ideas, jot something down of how you want to define these. Defining it, you say fine graded, what's fine graded? I mean, you can try to add words, but
Well, that's the way you
Very
define the size,
difficult.
you could do that, right, like Chuck's saying.
that's what I'm saying. So if he's got an idea, of things to
Screen, I
add,
mean,
then
screen, I mean, what's screen define, you can only,
can you screen it through a chain link fence?
well, that's what I mean, so
I mean,
just describe the
what's
screening.
screening?
Screening.
What's fine? I mean, that's you try to define it. I'm not trying to be
Put a
difficult,
measurement
but
on it.
That's what, yeah, like Chuck's saying. I mean, we can get
What
specific, I think.
what they did probably meets the contract.
yes, I would say yes.
That we asked for a berm, that's a
Correct.
berm.
I mean, unless we want to say bermed with, 304 or material meeting degradation of, I mean, and it's gotta be something like
Well, that's what I'm
specific.
getting at, like, you gotta make it specific enough that you can hold
And
their.
that's our contract, right? I mean, we're the ones that are.
Yeah, you can define anything you
Like
want.
PWC, where they're the ones that.
I mean, we can make it OPWC, we can, if we know about something berm, we can just have Ted put in there with material meeting gradation of something.
I think it needs to be, that way you have some, you can hold them accountable. This way, there's no standard that they have to meet, so they can do whatever they want.
So for this project, again, like Chuck said, don't want to have to, but
I know.
we're gonna have
Or,
to.
put in there,
And
Because,
here's the thing, I'll send my guys out there, and in one day,
I know.
everything will be,
and that's
Here's
why,
the other option.
is it even worth the hassle to get send those guys out there one day?
Well, and there's the thing, you're gonna spend all kinds of time coordinating with Ted and.
Yeah, but are we, exactly.
And still not get the end product that we
Right.
want, we're gonna go out there anyway.
Maybe we
I
just,
mean,
we allow, hey, this is what's gonna happen, and,
yeah,
I mean, you try to put it as much as you can in there, but still just know, hey, you know what,
we're gonna have
we're
to,
gonna have to
You know
go
what I'm
back
saying?
and clean it up for people. That's fine, I
and
mean,
I
that's,
also know
that's
that
actually a good,
if you live on a county road, and that's what you got, that's what you're gonna get.
yes.
Yeah.
They're not gonna send anybody out to do, that's it.
Right.
We treat our residents better.
right, and then, you know what, because the last thing you want, I mean, you put a brand new road and everything like that, you want, these people should be ecstatic, they got a whole new
I know.
road, and then
Yeah,
you get to the very end, a little tiny one-day cheap shot,
yeah.
we might as well just go in there and clean
Yeah, I
it
just wanna
ourselves.
say, I was gonna say the same.
And,
That's my feeling anyways. You know, we just go in there and clean it up ourselves, just knowing, hey, it's never gonna be to our standards regardless.
Yeah,
If it is, great. If it's not, then we just go back in there and, sweep it. If we gotta hire someone to spray some grass in there or whatever. We just know that that's gonna be part of our cost when we do.
So we'll want to, number one, specify the material gradation, and I think Ted does specify a straight, I don't know, I guess I haven't seen the spec book. If he specifies a straight line, or,
well, and then, not every yard needs burn, and I get it, but
not every
Some
yard is
people
there's
don't
nobody, there's nobody there to tell them
correct, not every.
what ones we want done.
was it karate chop?
Pardon?
Then you just karate chop.
Yeah, I just think if you want it to be nice and everything like that, we just might as well figure when we do a job like that, that our guys.
There's no reason not to define standards so that we can hold
Right,
them
I
accountable
know,
for
but
paying.
it's still, like you said, if you can
$100,000.
define standards all you want, whether they're actually doing, how much time you waste.
I guess we should always plan on
Right,
doing some touch up, some
exactly,
cleanup to make it
right.
right.
we're just gonna send our crew in afterwards, just.
Otherwise, you're gonna spend all kinds of time,
Yeah,
sending all kinds of time.
Spend more time and money fighting these guys. than
Yes.
it would be to just go there and make it look nice. Right.
I don't know, I think it's time, I mean, I partly agree with that, Mike, what you're saying, I partly agree, more than partly, but, if we're paying, as I heard Gabe say, hundreds of thousands of dollars to these clowns, there's pride and professionalism in the work you do, and so if, what they've done here on Nelmar is, I mean, if that was my house, I'd be disappointed too, and I would be a little, it's like, come on, I put pride in my yard. The guy's got a nice front yard, and it looks like Hill Jacks came by and dumped a bunch of crap on it.
I understand that. The question
They
is,
don't
on
have-
our side.
So, but put it into the standard, so into the contract, we need to define these things.
Okay.
And so now we have some time, why don't we work on it?
It's gonna get done if you withhold money if it's not done right, so that's the way to make sure that we're not.
Let's try to withhold money.
Done right, what's done right?
Well,
through
if you
the
define
contract.
standards.
You have to define it.
Yes, I think.
How about
what they-
we put in there, in our contract that the work's gotta be done, and to
Pick
the
the words,
inspection of the
Bill.
road department.
Pick the words and help us out with
road
what
department
can be done.
supervisors,
And then let's discuss it at the next meeting or so.
Yeah.
Okay, do some work, homework.
Yeah, before we talk about next year's project, we'll want to specify.
But I mean, it's gotta be.
How about if we give you, so this is what, June? How about if we give you into August, go on vacation, give you into August, come back by the August meeting with some, definitions of what we can and can't do your homework, talk to who you have to talk to, work with Mike, and then let's come back, talk to Jeremy if you need, and then let's come back with some more stringent guidelines.
He's saying that one day he can clean that whole thing up and make it look nice.
Doesn't matter.
I know.
We're paying $600,000 for road work. Why should we have to pull these guys to do the work they're
I
supposed to
agree.
be doing, to clean up after somebody
I
who's
agree.
taken over $500,000?
So
Stupid.
Keep in mind, though,
Even if we have to spend some of Mike's time doing it, it's the principle of it, we're giving them over $500,000 to make sure the job's done right. That's my point.
if we add more restrictions and to the contract, it could increase their price down the road, right? So if we add a lot of new restrictions, so, I've done work in Hudson and Solon, and I see bid prices in those communities a lot higher than other places because they're requiring the contractor to do more. So if we require more, we may.
We're
pay
leaving
more.
free money on the table every year anyways.
Not this year,
This
but
is
not.
our point.
Well, I'm saying OPWC,
Yeah.
are generally leaving free money on the table every year.
Agreed.
So why not use it to get the work done right? So it's just,
It's
Yeah,
it's not a whole bunch of.
for that, why I hope he don't
Defining
see
a
what-
berm, You're defining the finish on the
We
driveway.
want to seeded
That's what you're
grass,
defining.
Yeah.
let's put detailed specs in there.
that's what I'm saying, right? Especially if the OPWC, like
They're
you said,
already underestimating it.
right,
Okay, good.
yeah.
Anything else? Where we at? Mike, you got anything for us?
I don't know if we got much to do.
Yeah, you got zoning yet, but you said something about a budget, that's. for
Yeah,
next
the
month?
budget's just started, so the budget, we do it like July or whatever, just kind of like, a guesstimate is what we think is gonna happen next year,
A professional estimate.
required budget. So typically what we'll do is we use the prior year stuff and make a few modifications and then try to, we don't go very kind of in depth or that we kind of do when we're doing the actual appropriate. But, I mean, technically, you guys are the ones that set the budgets. This is actually your process that we're supposed to go through. Every hearing's on it, looking at the budgets and stuff like that. Typically, it's just get it on. We just kind of take, because our budgets really don't, I don't want to say this, we don't have a lot of projects where you have to decide where monies are gonna go. We're gonna put money, in this area, this area, this area, this area.
Mike, you've actually presented the budgets and we looked them over and then, go with what you've got. If there's good questions, we questioned it, so. I understand that, you like, in your budgeting process, you like to make it a little bit higher. Initially, when we got elected, I didn't like that. I wanted closer, but I understand the logic of what you're doing, so
And
it's
again,
been working
we
well.
don't have to do that. I mean, we're not tied to this budget, all this budget is that, it's really to try to anticipate some major things moving forward. And like I said, if you've got like multiple departments, like let's say like the county, they do their budget. They've got the police, the fire, they got all their, their different entities that are putting their individual budgets together and bringing those things up in here to us. We basically just have three areas, the fire road and general. And so, like I said, normally what we do with those, we just add this small percentage going up from prior years.
Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to change the subject, but don't forget about zoning.
Yes.
You have any questions on a changes? I mean, we can make changes.
So the gasoline tax on the appropriation this year was, 300,000, and it looks like you've lowered it to 200,000 for next year.
Oh, you can see that. The actual appropriation, yeah, we pulled more money out of our gasoline tax this year. So sometimes we'll pull more money out of one, like we got gasoline, gasoline, permissive motor vehicle license, and motor vehicle license. So what we try to do is we try to keep a little bit of balance in each one of those things. So if one is getting a little bit more of a balance, then we'll spend more money out of that. That's why, yeah. So we try to. Plus, I think this year we had a little bit of a bigger. We got a little bit more money on the gasoline tax.
So we got, there was the increase, right?
Yeah.
An extra.
Again, this is just a basic budget. We don't know what kind of road projects we're going to do next year or what the budgets are going to be, what OPWC is going to be yet.
So why is the fire up 300,000 or 250,000 from this year? We're going up next year?
Probably just a percentage increase in inflation. Again, we don't do a super detailed budget at this point in time. That's what we're done. Once we get towards the end of the year, we're actually doing our appropriations, which is what we actually got to stick with. This is just like a projected budget that's trying to look for, is there going to be anything in there that major that we're going to have to, go with future. I mean, this is your budget. You can do with it whatever you want. I gave to what you want. If you want to change it, you're more than willing. You can change it however you guys want. This is your budget. Although, maybe not right now. But again, this budget, all we do is we just give this to the county and that's it. We're not tied to it. We can go over it, under it. You know what I'm saying? This is just an exercise that the trustees need to do to just kind of look forward to the next year. And so I've always kind of put together for you guys and just take a look at. However, we're at a stage now where I think we've had this budget. People have to come in and take a look at it and stuff like that. So, I mean, we've had it already posted. So, in the hearing, I guess we could make adjustments to it. In the hearing, I'd have to look to see what the rules are on that.
Come back with the final budget what month? We pass the final budget in what month?
So right now, we're gonna have to pass our budget for 2021.
So this is for the county, get them moving.
Then we will do our appropriations resolution, which is our actual, what we say we're actually gonna spend. We typically do that at the last meeting in December. We'll do a temporary appropriation, and then we'll do a final appropriation before April 1st of
March. Okay. I'm not gonna beat up the numbers, I few of them, but I'm not gonna beat up the numbers, we can address it later.
I mean, yeah.
Fire
I
time.
mean, if you
Road
want
bridge.
to, like I said, I have to remember the exact process, but, technically you guys kind of create something, we have some hearings on, pass it. Again, this just goes to the county. They, some of the bigger entities that are doing this thing, each department is coming in and fighting for monies or is, presenting their budget concerns and stuff like that. We're just so small that in the past, I've always just kind of taken the prior year stuff we've added or subtracted a few things that we kind of knew where we would be at. And then once we get to, the first of the year and that as well, we really kind of sit down and say, okay, hey, this is where we want to be.
Okay, Josh, you good? You got any questions?
No, I do have questions for zoning though.
Okay, do you have any questions for him? All right, let's move on to zoning. Thanks, Mike.
Their agenda.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, zoning's here. So on the, I'm gonna take the screen over and present something for the West Jackson Street Estates. There we go. So anyhow, it looks like this is moving forward.
Rich,
We don't see anything.
we don't see anything. You have to look, bring your cursor down to the bottom half of your screen.
Yeah,
And click present now.
I thought I did that.
No.
It didn't. Try it again.
You may have to select what you want to
Yeah,
present.
present now, and then I think you probably, that's how it is for my work one, then you have to go and select the screen.
Present now. A Chrome tab. Oh. You ready?
Yeah.
Do it, baby. Here we go, something's happening.
All right. Okay. So anyhow,
It didn't come up.
the Planning Commission is stipulating that the requirement is for 11-foot lanes. They, as you recall, they only provided 10-foot lanes. And
Rich?
yeah,
Rich, see,
We have.
oh, click on it.
Select that, Mike?
Mike, click on him.
do what?
No,
Down one.
down.
Where's down one?
Presentation. Hang on, Rich.
There we
Okay.
go. Okay, we're good. Go ahead.
Okay. So the Planning Commission is recognizing that we want 12-foot lanes. They're requiring at least 11-foot. There's still no action on that variance being too close to Waldorf. And there are some engineering comments and stipulations. Oh, come on. You know, if it wasn't for computer trouble, I guess I wouldn't have any trouble. So anyhow, this is still in the works. They're going to have to abide by at least the 11-foot lanes. So, any questions on this?
Yeah, so there's a stipulation on the location from other side streets, 500 feet.
Right.
Who do they need?
Actually,
Everybody?
I think it's only like 240 some from Waldorf. When I sent the comments into the Planning Commission, I argued against the variance, and I think I had it pegged at something like a 46% variance. But I said, because it's a substandard roadway, and actually they didn't make a stipulation about the cul-de-sac. Part of that cul-de-sac is a 60-foot radius, and part of it, the bulk of it, is a 50-foot radius. So I called it a substandard roadway, and I said, why would the township want to have a dedicated substandard roadway? And then it doesn't merit even a consideration for a variance. So as of the moment, my understanding is the decision of the Planning Commission on that variance has not yet been made. But as long as the developer goes along with these stipulations, they're going to approve everything separately from the variance.
But unless they get a variance on that intersection spacing, they can't go forward, correct?
That's my understanding, correct?
And that variance would be granted by, if it were to be granted, would be granted by the planning commission or the township?
No, that's the planning commission.
Okay.
Okay, that's a county function, a location of streets. Okay,
So they design stipulations, and the second one is, kind of kills the project, I think. So they can't really follow that one.
say that again?
In the list of design stipulations, right, so the letter says they've got to follow these design stipulations. The second
Right.
one talks about the spacing, and there's no way they can meet that. You just can't make more space, right? You can't meet the 500-foot spacing anyway. So unless they were to get a variance, the project can't go forward.
Right, right.
So what's the problem with that, Josh, from an engineering standpoint? I mean, help educate me, what do I need to know?
Well, I don't know how they came up with 500 foot in the county rules and regulations, but you don't.
500 feet between house streets?
Between streets. They just don't want street intersections on top of each other.
Okay.
Turning traffic becomes an issue. Turning out of one into the other. So they set 500 feet, I don't know why. Why
Have you seen that
500?
elsewhere?
Yeah, well, yeah, every place has.
500 feet.
I don't know about 500, but yeah, everybody's got a restriction.
And so what they're proposing over here is what? Rich, what are they proposing here, the distance between Waldorf and the street?
It's about 240 some feet, I think.
Yeah, 250, I remember you said last.
Okay,
So
half.
all right,
We got about 2 minutes, guys.
I would not want like a mile between signalized intersections.
I understand, sure. All right, keep going, Rich, got a few minutes left.
Okay, moving on. The villas at Lake Erie Shores, that's the little half circle called Vista Lago Circle. There were 2 bioretention basins or cells that were required for that development to be installed after the houses were built. The houses have all been built and erected since late 2018. All of last year went by and the developer, Paul Murray, failed to finish off those bioretention cells. And so far this year, he's used up 2 excuses. The first one earlier in the spring, it was too wet. And now they have all their people laid off because of COVID-19. So anyhow, the county is holding a performance bond to finish this work off. And the question is, the planning commission has to make the request for the prosecutor to release those funds, and then the county will hire a contractor to finish this job. And do we want to request that the planning commission at their June 30th meeting makes that request of the prosecutor?
Yes.
Or do we want to give some other kind of a warning to Paul Murray or whatever?
How many warnings did they have?
Too many. They've done a terrible job. This whole process has been an issue. They've dragged their feet. Ryan Holmes sales personnel made promise after promise to these homeowners for landscaping and other things around those basins, and none of it has come to fruition. We've asked them repeatedly to step in, do the right thing. And Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, but we've heard no response.
I've left 2 messages during the last 2 weeks for Dave Wager, he's not coming.
Okay, so whatever the hardest course of action is to get this resolved as soon as possible. My opinion.
Have we asked at least twice and then been told at least twice that they're gonna do it?
Okay, so the question is, if we, Jeremy, if we are going to request that the planning commission ask the prosecutor to release the funds, does that have to be a trustee resolution?
Yes, we'd have to do a resolution for that.
Oh, okay.
So, Richard,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
we're 11:01. I would like to start the other meeting. You can continue this conversation when it's your report.
Okay,
Okay, so let's close this meeting at 11:01, and we're gonna open up the other meeting.
okay.
Sorry about that.